Spiral is directed by Darren Lynn Bousman. It stars Chris Rock, Samuel L. Jackson, and Max Minghella. Spiral is a continuation of the Saw franchise, and this movie takes place years after the events of the last Saw film. In this movie, we focus on Detective Zeke Banks, who is played by Chris Rock. He leads an investigation of gruesome murders of other police officers that seem very reminiscent of the Jigsaw killings. But Jigsaw in the franchise is now dead, so we don't know who's committing these murders. And as the investigation is going on, Detective Zeke Banks starts to realize that he may have a bigger role in the investigation than he realizes. And we have our movie. So let me talk about my thoughts on the Saw franchise as a whole really quick. I like the first film that was made in 2004. I don't think it's a modern horror classic like some people say it is, but I do think it's a good movie overall. The rest of the films, for me, either range from mediocre to downright garbage. I am not a fan of the Saw franchise at all. Why? Because I just think it's straight up torture porn. The acting, 98% of the acting in the movies are garbage. The characters are insufferable. And overall, other than the first one, I just think they're poorly made. But it doesn't matter what I think because there's so many movies in the franchise. All of these movies, they cost nothing to make, but they make so much money at the box office because a lot of people go out to see them. And that's why they always make these movies. And it's been a while since they made the last Saw film. And like I said, I'm not a fan of this franchise, but I was still excited for Spiral for a couple of reasons. I'm a fan of Chris Rock. I'm a fan of Samuel L. Jackson. I like the trailers. This looked like a different take on the Saw franchise, just a refreshing vibe to the Saw franchise as a whole. I know Chris Rock, he went into Lionsgate. He was like, listen, I want to make this Saw movie, and it's going to be different than the other ones, but I'm passionate about this. And they got him to make the movie. I was on board with Spiral. I was hoping it would be a lot better than the sequels, and just hoping for a good movie overall, at least for me. So I saw Spiral last night in IMAX, and I'm here to give you my thoughts on Spiral. Obviously, this is a review, after all. So what did I think of Spiral? I will say this. This is far and above the best Saw sequel we have ever had. Easily. I mean, this is miles better than any other Saw sequel we've gotten. Now, to me, that's not saying much because I don't like any of the other sequels. But with that said, this film, I can say I had fun with it. It's entertaining, and there are definitely things I like about it. But let's talk about the elephant in the room about this film. This film stars Chris Rock. Let's talk about Chris Rock really quick. I watched Chris Rock's movies growing up. Chris Rock is one of my favorite comedians. He is so funny, he's charismatic, he's extremely likable. I have not seen a lot of his stand-up, but some of the stand-up I've seen, I'm definitely a fan of. Now, obviously, this is a very interesting choice to cast Chris Rock in a lead role in a horror slash detective story. But last year, later in 2020, right, there was Fargo season 4, which starred Chris Rock. And that was a very different role for him. And I thought he pulled that role off with aces. So I had my optimistic thoughts about Chris Rock starring in the Saw movie. And I have to say, I thought he really pulled it off. He's very likable. He's charismatic. In the beginning, he has his comedic chops. But as the movie goes on, he is mostly serious. I've heard mixed things about Chris Rock in this movie. I know a lot of people didn't think he was very convincing, but there are times where he was overacting. I have to say I disagree with both of those statements. I thought he was consistent in the film. And let me tell you something, he is way better than most of the actors in the other movies. And he brings charisma, which was sorely lacking, which was lacking heavily in the other Saw films. So I dug Chris Rock in this movie. He is easily one of the best things about the film. Samuel L. Jackson, I'm a huge fan of Samuel L. Jackson. I mean, who isn't? Samuel L. Jackson is funny. He's so likable. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, we just love him, even when he's just playing Samuel L. Jackson. Now, in this movie, admittedly, he just plays Samuel L. Jackson, but to me, it's not a problem because he's so damn likable and he's funny and he's also charismatic and he can just say, you know, the F word so many times and it'll be like the funniest thing, right? And he does provide that here. I do wish he had a little more to do. He was in it less than I thought he would be, but you know what? I still thought he was a nice addition to the franchise. I just wish he had a little more to do. I still liked him in the movie, though. He's good. We can also talk about Max Magilla. Now, the first time I've seen Max Magilla was in The Social Network. I thought he was great in that movie. And I've seen him in other stuff. I just can't remember at the moment. I know I've seen him in more movies, and I know I've been impressed with his work. And in this movie, I liked him too. He plays the rookie cop who partners up with Detective Zeke Banks to lead the investigation. He does have more to do in the movie. I'm not going to spoil anything, obviously, but I was pleased with his character overall. I was pleased with his performance. And the other actors are fine. No one here gives a bad performance, actually, which is, it's refreshing to say that about a Saw movie. But everyone here is fine. I do think Chris Rock, Sam Jackson, they're the standouts. Max McGill is good too. Everyone else is serviceable. They do their jobs well. No complaints about the acting department whatsoever. Now, this film, what I really appreciate about this film, this is definitely a different take on the Saw franchise. This is not just torture porn. I can say that. Yes, there are some traps. Yes, there are some gruesome moments, but this is primarily a detective story. This is about Chris Rock's character who has a past. A lot of cops don't trust him. And as the movie goes on, you get to see how people not trusting him, it really impacts the investigation and certain things happen. Again, I'm not going to spoil it, but this movie, it really tries to focus more on the story, which I absolutely appreciated. That alone makes it way better than the Saw sequels by a mile. The thing is, when you compare this movie to other crime dramas, it's just nothing incredible. It's fun, it's entertaining, and I can say that I liked the movie overall, but is it as good as Seven? No, absolutely not. Or is it as good as other notable crime dramas out there? No, not really. This film is formulaic. It is kind of predictable too, unfortunately. There is a major reveal at the end. I mean, all these movies have twists, so it's not surprising this movie is going to have a twist or a couple of twists. And one of the twists I saw coming from a mile away, which is unfortunate. But like I said, I still had fun. The ending of the film, I know it's going to either make or break it for people. I didn't really mind it. I mean, like I said, it's going to either make it or break it for people. I was somewhere in the middle. Personally, I didn't hate it, but I also wouldn't have minded if it ended a different way. This movie overall, I think, like I said, I think it's fun, it's entertaining, and there are things I liked about it. It did grab me for a while, but then at a certain point, I just thought this could have been a lot better. I think if they had a different director, and that's another thing. So this director, Darren Lynn Bousman, he has directed other Saw movies in the franchise, and his directing here is not bad per se, but it's a little baffling as to why they chose a veteran director for this franchise when they wanted to make this franchise new and refreshing. So why not choose another filmmaker or choose different writers so you can make this film even more refreshing and different? I think that would have really helped them in the long run. They had someone like David Fincher direct this movie, that would have been incredible. Or even like someone else. I know there's a lot of filmmakers who are looking for work or who are very capable of tackling a project like this. And I think they should have done that instead of getting a veteran Saw director. But if you're a fan of those movies, I mean, that may not be an issue for you. I know these movies have a lot of people that are part of the fan base of the Saw franchise, is what I'm trying to say. So I will also say that in Spiral, there's a lot of flashbacks that delve into the main character's backstory. I just wish we got more of that. I think there needed to be a little bit more depth, and that also goes hand in hand with the, not complaint, but just the wish that Samuel L. Jackson had more to do. I think they could have done a little more. I think this movie had potential to be fantastic, and it kind of just plays it safe, even though it does try to be different than the other ones. It overall plays it safe as a detective story, and that was a little disappointing in that way. But like I said, it's all right. It's a mixed bag. If they do make a sequel, I just hope they get a different director, different screenwriters, and it just don't really play it safe for the next time. I would be on board, and I think it has potential to be great. So I'm going to give Spiral a 6 out of 10, which is a lot higher than the other Saw sequels. For me, I would say the first one is still the best, but this is close to it, I guess. But yeah, Spiral is a 6 out of 10. Like I said, it's playing in theaters now. If you want to go see it in theaters, I would say see it at a matinee price. And that's my review of Spiral from the Book of Saw, is the original title, but I think it's just called Spiral now. I'm going to call it Spiral for this review. So that's my review of Spiral. Thank you guys for watching my review of Spiral. I hope you guys will take it into consideration in regards to you wanting to see this movie or not. So my next review will be for the movie Those Who Wish Me Dead, the new action movie starring Angelina Jolie. I'm hopefully going to be seeing that tonight, and I'm going to be having a review for you guys in a couple of days. Fingers crossed. So thank you guys once again for watching this review. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and you can share this review if you want. I will see you guys next time with my review of Those Who Wish Me Dead. Thank you guys so much. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.